Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch, your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network, of course. Welcome back to another daily installment of Bodybuilding Daily, the show where we talk about all things hot topic and trending in the world of bodybuilding. And let's go ahead and start off with none other than Urs Kalecinski sharing some recent physique updates as he is, and among others, are 2 weeks out, just under actually. I think we're 13 days out from the Arnold Classic as it returns to Ohio this March 2nd through the 6th. And kind of the conversation I wanted to talk about in this specific installment of featuring Urs Kalecinski is the conversation of, you know, after Ramon placed second at the Olympia, the question, at least in my head, and I'm sure some of you would agree, is how long is it going to take Urs Kalecinski to, one, catch up to Ramon, because he is somewhat undersized compared to Ramon. They're both very, very, very young competitors, so they still have a lot of time, a lot of opportunity to grow in the sport and then grow in their physiques as well. But the conversation looking at these most recent physique updates showing some, great conditioning in the legs, and then he also has this photo, little reel of him showing off a lot of vascularity in the chest, the shoulders, the neck. He's got pretty good neck conditioning as well as the chest. He has the conditioning, and that seems to be kind of his signature calling card, whereas Ramon has more of a balanced, good structure, full looking physique. Not to the extent of Chris Bumstead, but it's still, very good. But my question, kind of like what I was alluding to just a second ago, is how long is it going to take Urs Kalecinski to catch up to Ramon? Could it happen at this Arnold Classic? I don't know. But I do want to plug Mark's Max Muscle. He's done a lot of different comparison videos. He is the GOAT in bodybuilding comparison YouTube channels. He put some side-by-sides of Ramon and Urs Kalecinski from the recent Olympia, the 2022 Mr. Olympia. And when you look at these, they look very comparable in most shots when you look at like muscle density, conditioning, but it's more, at least in my eyes, and of course let me know down below if I'm way off here, but in my eyes it's more of a flair. It's more of like how Urs presents his physique. It's more, I don't want to say more classic, but kind of almost more classic, whereas Ramon is a little bit more streamlined, not as artistic, but they're both so amazing. So I don't want to get lost in the minutia of all this too much, but I am excited to see Urs and Ramon get back on stage, battle it out for the 1 and 2, and I know there's plenty of other competitors coming into the Arnold Classic, but those are the two that I'm looking at when we talk about the men's classic physique. And next up, we have some physique updates, more physique updates from Keone Pearson, the prodigy, the one of these guys that's been able to do some, amazing work in the classic physique, moving into the Olympia, and then also coming into the 212 Olympia, and really solidifying his place of being in the conversation to be one of those staple 212 guys. And I don't think I could see him moving into the open. I think he still has a lot of opportunity to continue to grow. Heck, in this most recent physique update, in his off season, sharing he's around 220 pounds. I saw in one of these videos. Here it is, the one where he's showing off the side chest. You'll see it eventually. He's saying he's around 220 pounds, and to think that that's what he looks like at 220 and he needs to cut down to 212, just get on stage, makes me wonder what his stage weight is. So any of you Prodigy, big Prodigy fans out there that are familiar with his physique and what he was weighing in when he got on stage, I'd love to hear it, of course, in the comment sections below from you beautiful people. I am very excited for Keone Pearson. I think he... the conversation was he shows up to shows and he's just never 100%. And it's hard to know when someone is at 100% until you really see it. And also, there's that. but also Keone is still relatively a very young competitor, and he still has a lot of room to, again, one, grow into the physique, and then two, to master the conditioning as he does start to show up to more and more of these real big boy shows. He's done the Tampa, he's done I believe the Chicago Pro he did once, at least once, right? He did the Texas last year, right? Of course, let me know. I'm sure I'm just shooting off the hip of what I kind of remember from last year. And you got to remember, I've tried to remember hundreds and hundreds of competitors, so sometimes I do miss someone's fourth or fifth placing, and I do mix those things up. So I do appreciate your guys' corrections. Of course, this is the people's voice in bodybuilding, where we have our voices heard in the comment sections or at the shows. We will be at the Arnold Classic, not to digress too far away from Keone Pearson, but as he continues to keep growing into these big shows, I am excited to see how high he can climb. And you have this conversation with Sean Clarita right now. If he places in the top 3 at the Arnold against, debatably all top 6 Mr. Olympia competitors, at least at last year's, just 2 months ago, Mr. Olympia, the 2022 Mr. Olympia, if Sean Clarita can place in the top 6 at the Mr. Olympia Open, why wouldn't he move into the open class? And then that continues to create this reoccurring vacancy in the 212 top 6 Olympia, where you have someone like Derek Lunsford who has moved up and now is second in the world in the men's open. You have Hadi Chupan, who's moved up from the 212 and is the reigning Mr. Olympia champion. You have a 212 like William Bonac, who has moved up and has been a repeat second place Mr. Olympia Open competitor finalist at the Mr. Olympia. And then now there's just so many impressive physiques leaving the 212. I mean, even you think Angel Calderon, who's a top 3 now, right? He placed 3rd this year or 4th. Apologies, correct me if I'm wrong down below. It's one of them, right? 3rd or 4th. He's done open shows and he's won open shows. So you have these people like Keone that has still yet to perfect the physique. He has just a tad bit to grow. Is it in the legs? I'm not sure. I think the upper body is almost perfect. But of course, again, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on Keone Pearson's recent off-season physique updates, and go ahead and throw in your predictions for where he might place at this upcoming Mr. Olympia. Of course, being not in the top, 3, right? He does need to qualify again for the Mr. Olympia, so expect him to either do probably the Texas, Orlando, maybe the Tampa, maybe the Puerto Rico if he wants to make a vacation out of it. Lots of opportunities for him in this very fresh and new 2023 competitive calendar year. And last but certainly not least, as we conclude today's video, I did want to give a quick mention to Josh Manley, who is a NPC bodybuilder competitor. He was sharing some recent physique updates in the off season. It says he's holding around 253 to 254 pounds throughout the week. From what I understand, Josh, please correct me if I'm off here. He does plan on doing the NPC Nationals this year in July, or at least that was his plan, December 7th, 2022, where he posted his individual posing routine from the NPC Nationals at the time, at this past weekend, and it was recorded by none other than the creme de la creme of bodybuilding coverage on site when we talk about 8K quality footage or 4K, either one. Of course, Giles Co-Productions is who I'm talking about. He is excited to bring an even more improved package. Looking at this, the most recent posing routine he had from last year's Nationals. And if I'm saying it wrong, please let me know. I know I always mess up the national show and Nationals and then the USAs and blah, 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 blah. Like I mess it up. So I'm sorry. I'm not one of those legacy guys when it comes to really knowing the ins and outs of the NPC. But also a good shout out to Justin Compton. Looks like it's his coach. So I am happy to see that he's continuing. When I look at his physique, I was honestly thinking it was like a mixture between like Branch and Nate Spear. It was kind of like a mixture there. So, kudos to him. He looks like he's got a nice grainy look to his physique, and, definitely going to be one of these guys in the conversation to win the pro cards in this very young 2023 competitive season. So congratulations to him on his, very impressive package he brought at last year's Nationals. And we look forward to seeing a new and improved version of that this year in July, as we will be covering the Nationals in person, myself and hopefully our lead female correspondent, Danielle Willis, IFBB Pro Women's Bodybuilding Olympian. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this video. It did get very long, but I hope you enjoyed the content. I think I've got 7 other athletes I want to talk about, so we're going to have to do a couple videos and cram them in over the next few days and get them scheduled. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the new microphone. Hopefully the audio is phenomenal. I'll figure out my mic arm so it actually can get right here, so I'm not like hunching over, talking like this the whole time. And then, of course, if you guys want to get hooked up with the new BNN merch, the shirts are available. Just message me on Instagram. Let me know your size, and then we'll get you hooked up. But that's it. I'm your host, Josh Sanch. As always, thanks for watching BNN. Subscribe if you're new here, and share with a like-minded individual. A share costs you nothing except a moment of your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.